Hello and welcome to the overview of Master Edit. I absolutely love this software. I guarantee it will improve your manuscript. Whether you're a professional writer or a beginner, whether you're an academic writer or a novelist, whether you're a news broadcaster or not a news broadcaster but a journalist rather, whatever it is you're writing, I guarantee you this software will improve your writing. It's like having your own editor, but better because it catches mistakes the editor will miss. And editors will love to use this to make their editing job easier. Like the Paramedic method, this in itself is worth the whole price of the software, which is only $30, and it's instant downloads. You don't have to wait for it to show up in the mail. Okay, so what we do here is we go to our document, whatever it is you're writing with, and highlight the text you want to analyze. I recommend only doing like a page or two at a time. Really, when you're editing, you really only do a page at a time. So you after you highlight it, you right-click and copy, or just hit Control-C on your keyboard. Go in here, select, right-click and paste, or you can hit Control-V, whatever you prefer. Then you can click what function you want to use down here. Let's say, like for example, these two functions here are something that editors would have a hard time, catching. So you repeated words, for example, hit Analyze. All these are the repeated words that show up and how many times. So house is repeated 6 times in this document. Click on it and you'll see all the instances light up. And I have 3 here very close together, so I probably want to change at least one of those to something else. And this is the first draft, so I wouldn't even begin normally working on sentence structure or even using the software yet. I would still be filling in, doing my second draft, filling in, make sure I have enough narration, enough internal conflict, external conflict, filling in plot holes, working out plot holes, working on the voice of the character, working on dialogue, the voice of each character and dialogue and so forth. It's really your last edit when you're ready to finalize. When everything else is done, then that's when you start editing for your sentence structure. Otherwise, you might edit a huge part for sentence structure, and then you're like, uh-oh, I have to go and erase all of that. So you just did all that work for nothing because you realize it's not going to work or something. Okay, so, you can see that it highlights house. And weak words is another awesome function. This is a quick overview. I'm going to go through, there's videos for each one of these functions showing how to use them and what they do and how they'll benefit your writing and how to best use it to benefit your writing. So see here once again, this is the weak words that show up in this part of the document. There's actually more weak words that it looks for besides these. These are just happens to be the ones that are in there. But one of the most useful is like the word feel and felt, because you really don't want to use these words very often. And heard is another one it looks for, and see and saw. It does both past, present tense, but also were and was. You want to look for these. So for example, I definitely want to remove this one, and I can already see a way I can improve this sentence by removing that were. And you can see as you scroll down, and if you just want to look at one at a time, you can uncheck them. So another cool function is this lengths function. As you can see here, it highlights all the kind of turns it to Christmas, and this shows you a quick visual of the sentence links. You want to have mostly green, because if you analyze text from your favorite authors, you'll see that if you pop it in here and analyze it with the software, you're going to see that mostly green show up. And now green are sentences of 15 words or more. Blue are sentences of 9 to 14 words, and red are 8 words or less. And so you don't want very many red sentences, and the main place they're going to show up in is dialogue. You can see them showing up a lot here in dialogue. And then you want a decent amount of blue sentences, but mostly you're going to have green. But you don't want huge chunks of green either. And if you have too big of chunks of green, you definitely probably want to break one of those sentences up, or at least look at each of those sentences, really look at them and make sure that they're necessary to be that long, and that they won't benefit by one of them being shorter. Then you have this cool count function. And you can see that it just counts how many sentences are there. So I have 43 sentences in this analyzed text. And this is the average amount of words per sentence. And you want somewhere between 9 and 16. Just depends on what kind of writer you are and what audience you're writing for. If you're writing for YA novels, between 9 and 12. And if you're writing for kids, you want it actually maybe even like 8 or 9, or even maybe even an average of like 8 or 9 around there. Depends on the age group. And if you're something like Bujold or Dean Koontz, you're probably going to be up there in the 15 to 16 like they are. I've analyzed like a huge portion of their text, and that seems to be pretty much their average. Paramedic method, awesome. This isn't all the words it looks for and all the suffixes it looks for. But this makes the paramedic method automatic. It highlights the different suffixes of the most popular nominalizations. Those are nouns turned into verbs. And so you can quickly identify them and then see if you can change them into a verb, because it's better to have the verb. You want the action in the sentence as a verb. And the paramedic method has you going through and circling like the word of and in and stuff. This does it automatically for you. So I'm not going to explain the benefits of using this yet. I'll do that in the paramedic method video, but just want you to kind of overview and show what's here. Then you have conjunctions. It searches for conjunctions. Again, you can uncheck the ones you don't and the ones you want. This is really helpful because oftentimes people abuse these words, so that's why it's there. You got your weak phrases. It searches for much more weak phrases than this, but as you can see, this isn't good that I have so many there, and I might want to at least change one of those. You have repeated phrases. This is awesome too, and by default they're all unchecked because it searches for so many of them. But then you can go through and look for the ones that are more prominent, that have 6 of them or 3 of them, and then you can look for the ones that have like this. And that's not one I'd want to change, for example. Let's see here on the I can look for Elizabeth said, nope, don't want to change that one. So you can quickly see if there's any that you want to change. Probably leave that because anyway. So just showing how cool if there are certain phrases you're abusing, this is a quick way to find them. Whereas searching for I would be very difficult because you'd have to really comb through, and by the time you got from here to here, after about 200 words later, you probably wouldn't remember. 150 words later, you probably wouldn't remember that you just read that phrase. So this way you can quickly find repeated phrases. You have witch hunter. This is very cool. This searches for as you can see, I don't use it very often, these words very often, but it searches for which, who, whose, that. And so one of the things that, almost every editor does is they take a pass, and in that pass they just search for which. That's why it's called witch hunting, because they're just searching for abuse of the word which. Another word that's abused a lot is that, and as you can see, I haven't abused it in this portion at least. And so that's that function. Very cool. You have the ing in the first word. This highlights every sentence that begins with an ing word. This is not something you want to do very often. Notice I've only done it once. And then you have ing words in general, and I'll go through the benefits of these of this function and how it can improve your writing. But you don't want too many of these either. So this is a quick way to see. You can look through and go, oh, wait a minute, maybe I can change a couple of those. Okay, so that's a quick overview of Master Edit. I hope that you come back and look at each individual video of these functions and what they do and how they can improve your writing and how to best use them to improve your writing.